Welcome to VLearn, Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 17 of the subject India, Earliest Times to 8th Century AD, and the chapter is Buddhism, Jainism and Other Religious Ideas. Topics to be covered are Introduction, Rise of New Religious Ideas, Gautam Buddha and Origin of Buddhism, Teachings of Buddha, Development of Buddhism, Origins of Jainism, Teachings of Mahavira, Development of Jainism, Other Heterodox Ideas, and Impact of the New Religious Movements. Introduction. The 6th century BC was an important stage in Indian history as far as the development of new religions is concerned. In this period, we notice a growing opposition to the ritualistic orthodox ideas of the Brahmins. Among these, Buddhism and Jainism developed into well-organized popular religions which opposed ritualistic orthodox ideas of Brahmins. Firstly, deals with the factors that were responsible for the emergence and growth of heterodox ideas. The other heterodox religious ideas which were current during the 6th century BC have also been dealt with, which were ritualistic as well as orthodox. Finally, we examine the impact of these religious movements on contemporary economy and society. Rise of new religious ideas. Some of the basic reasons which contributed to their emergence are the Vedic religious practices had become cumbersome and in the context of the new society of the period had become in many cases meaningless ceremonies. So there were a lot of meaningless ceremonies and the religious practices which were meaningless and also they were cumbersome which had no relevance. Growing importance of sacrifices and rituals established the domination of the Brahmins in the society. Contemporary economic and political developments, on the other hand, helped the emergence of new social groups which acquired considerable economic power. So contemporary economic and political developments also with on the other hand, they also helped the emergence of new social groups which acquired considerable economic power. So they were also emerging of the new social and economic groups which acquired considerable economic and social power with the contemporary developments and also there were growing importance of sacrifices and rituals which also only the Brahmins dominated the society, which was opposed by the newly acquired power of the social groups. Gautam Buddha and origin of Buddhism. Buddhism was founded by Gautam Buddha, who had been given the name Siddhartha by his parents. His father was Suddhodana, the chief of the Sakya clan, and mother was Maya, princess of the Kolya clan. He was born in the Lumbini Grove in Nepal, Terai. We know this through an inscribed pillar of Ashoka. The date of birth of Buddha is a matter of dispute, but most of the scholars place it about 566 BC. Gautam spent 6 years as a wandering ascetic from a sage named Alara Kalama. He learned the technique of meditation and the teachings of Upanishads. Since these teachings did not lead Gautam to the final liberation, he left him with the 5 Brahman ascetics. So this was about the life story of Gautam Buddha, who had been given the name first Siddhartha by his parents, and that was all about his parents and family background. Teachings of Buddha. 4 noble truths were propounded by Buddha. The world is full of sufferings. All sufferings have a cause. Either the sufferings are because of desire, ignorance, and attachment. These are the causes of sufferings. The suffering could be removed by destroying its cause. Eightfold path, which was also propounded by Buddha. Finding is the right view. It is to understand that the world is filled with sorrow generated by desire. Right aim. It seeks to avoid the enjoyment of the senses and luxury. Finding the right view, it is basically told that the world is filled with sorrow and that is also generated by desire, and right aim has to be followed and one should avoid the enjoyment of the senses as well as the luxury. Right speech should be there, right words should be spoken by the people, right action, right deeds which should be there, which is understood to be unselfish action, unselfish actions, unselfish deeds has to be undertaken. Right livelihood. It instructs that a man should live by honest means. By honest means, by sincere means, one should adopt the livelihood. Money should be earned by the honest means. Right effort should be put. It is a proper way of controlling one's senses so as to prevent bad thoughts. Right effort in the right direction should be put so as to prevent bad thoughts. Right mindfulness, it is the understanding of the idea that the body is impermanent, and meditation is the means for the removal of worldly evils. So whatever worldly bad evils which are there, that only meditation is the means for removal of it, and mindfulness should be there. Right concentration should be there. The observation of it will lead to peace. So concentration, if it is there, when the concentration is observed, it will lead to peace. Development of Buddhism. Spread of Buddhism. This appeal of Buddhism to a large section of population was because of the following factors. Emphasis on practical morality, an easily acceptable solution to the problems of mankind, and a simple philosophy attracted the masses towards Buddhism. So practical morality should be emphasized, and that is an easily acceptable solution to the problems of mankind, as well as a simple philosophy that also attracted the masses towards Buddhism. So practical morality which is practical, that should be emphasized. The ideas of social equality laid down in the codes of Buddhism made many lay followers accept Buddhism. So the ideas of social equality, that everybody is equal and everybody has a right to live life to their own will. Merchants should also be emphasized. Merchants like Anathir Pindika and courtesans like Amrapali accepted the faith because they got due respect in this religion. So merchants like these courtesans, they also accepted this faith because they got due respect and whatever they wanted in this religion. The institution of the Sangha. The Sangha was the religious order of the Buddhists. It was a well organized and powerful institution which popularized Buddhism. So it was a well organized and powerful institution which was there, which popularized Buddhism, and the Sangha was the religious order of the Buddhists. Membership was open to all persons irrespective of caste above 15 years of age. So in the institution of the Sangha, everybody was invited but above 15 years of age. Criminals, lepers and persons affected by infectious diseases were not given admission into the Sangha. Initially, Buddha was not in favor of admitting women in the Sangha. On admission, the monks had to ceremonially shave their head and wear yellow or saffron robes. The Buddhist councils were made. According to tradition, shortly after the death of Buddha, the first Buddhist council was held in 483 BC in the Saptami cave near Rajagriha. Makasappa presided over the assembly. All the teachings of Buddha were divided into two Pitakas, namely Vinaya Pitaka and Sutta Pitaka. The text of Vinaya Pitaka was established under the leadership of Upali, and those of Sutta Pitaka was settled under the leadership of Ananda. Buddhist schools were also there. In the second council held at Vaishali, the Buddhist order was split into two schools, namely Sataviravadins and Mahasangikas. The Sataviravadins followed strict monastic life and rigid disciplinary laws as originally prescribed. So strict monastic life and rigid laws, disciplinary laws were there. The group which followed a modified disciplinary rules was called the Mahasangikas. So modified disciplinary rules were followed, and Mahayanism developed after the fourth Buddhist council. Origins of Jainism. According to Jain traditions, 24 Tirthankaras were responsible for the origin and development of Jain religion and philosophy. Parsavnath. According to Jain tradition, the 23rd Tirthankara, Parsavnath, was the son of King Asvasena of Varanasi and his queen Vama. Mahavira. The 24th Tirthankara was Vardhamana Mahavira. He was born in Kunda Garma, a suburb of Vaishali, in 540 BC. So it was about how the Jainism religion was originated. Teachings of Mahavira. Mahavira accepted most of the religious doctrines laid down by Parsavnatha. However, he made some alterations and additions to them. Parsavnath advocated the following four principles: truth, non-violence, non-possession, and not to receive anything which is not voluntarily given. To this, Mahavira added celibacy, brahmacharya, and four principles had to be followed: not to take anything which was not voluntarily given, and non-violence should be there, no fight. There should be truth, and non-possession of the goods and services should take place, and also brahmacharya needed to be followed. Development of Jainism. Spread of Jainism. Mahavira had 11 disciples known as Ganadharas or heads of schools. Arya Sudharma was the only Ganadhara who survived Mahavira and became the first Thera, chief preceptor of the Jain order. He died 20 years after Mahavira's death. The Jain order in the days of the late Nanda king was administered by two Theras. Sambhutu Vijaya and Bhadra Bahu. Jain councils were also built. Towards the close of Chandragupta Maurya's rule, a terrible famine broke out in South Bihar. It lasted for about 12 years. Bhadra Bahu and his disciples migrated to Sravan Bilgola in Karnataka. Other Jains remained in Magadh with Shitul Bhadra as their leader. They summoned a council at Pataliputra at about 300 BC, and in that council the sacred teachings of Mahavira were divided into 12 angs. Sects. The split in the Jain order is widest from the 3rd century BC. The differences over wearing a garment was apparent even during the times of Mahavira. The followers of Bhadra Bahu, after they returned from Sravan Beloga to Magadh, refused to acknowledge the canon, holding that all the 14 Purvas were lost. Moreover, a wide gulf had developed between those who emigrated and those who stayed in Magadh. Other heterodox ideas. Ajvikas, they are said to be Sudra sannyasins. The sect was established by Nanda Vacha, who was followed by Kissa Sankicha. The third religious chief was Makali Gosala, who popularized this sect. He denied the theory of karma and argued that man is subject to laws of nature. That nature actually is dominant, man is subjected to nature. The Ajvikas believed that the thought and deed of an individual were predetermined. They did not believe that there was any special cause for either the misery of human beings or for their deliverance. Other ideas. The Chakravas believed in complete materialism. They held that an individual's body is formed of matter and finally would end in matter. Therefore, the aim of human life should be to enjoy all the material pleasures of life. Puran Kasapa preached the doctrine of akriya or non-action. He was a Brahmin teacher whose main doctrine was that action did not lead to either merit or demerit. Impact of new religious movements. The rise and development of new religious ideas had brought some significant changes in the contemporary social life, and following are the changes. The idea of social equality was popularized in this period. The Buddhists and Jains did not give any importance to the caste system. Brahmanical texts had assigned an inferior position to traders, and the new religions gave importance to languages like Prakrit, Pali and Arad Magadhi, and social equality was highly popularized. So that was all about the religion of Mahavira, Jainism as well as Buddhism. These are some of the questions. You have to do it yourself. Question number 1. Explain the Buddhist philosophy of nirvana and karma. Answer in 5 lines. And question number 2. What are the basic principles of Jainism? Answer in 100 words. That's all. Thank you. Happy learning. Be learning.